Oh, look at this. Nice. Person. Obviously, you have to be a person to be nice. Gentil. Oh, that's what that is. Or the feminine version is gentil, with two L's and an E at the end. Agréable, aimable, thing. Jolie, bonne, soirée. Yeah, soirée. Oh, interesting. Sending flowers was a nice gesture. C'était gentil d'envoyer des fleurs. It's not nice of you to make fun of him. Ce n'est pas bien de vous moquer de lui. Well, that's what makes comedy. If you're not making fun of somebody, you're clearly doing something wrong. So this book over here, the French and English dictionary, does not know what it's talking about, alright? Here, let me summarize this to you. If you're a comedian and you're not making mean jokes that are kind of insulting but at the same time funny, then you're not making any money. I'm not saying that because to be mean. I'm saying that to be gentil. If you're not being funny, and if you're not making some sort of a remark that's in a way infuriating an individual, whatever it may be, the topic of subject may be, then you're clearly not doing your job correctly. Because you need to find me the nicest. Find me the nicest. I want somebody to look up the nicest comedian out there and send me a link to their stuff. I want to see if they're funny. I highly doubt any of them are even close to being funny, because the majority of the people, whether they be telling stories of their lives, their past, or what's coming up in the future, their family, whatever, they're usually making jokes, and they're usually not truly nice. Like, just say for an example, what Kevin Hart was like, his dad ran out of the house and left the family behind because his dad thought someone was in the house and was about to kill him. That's not nice. I don't care how you spin it. That's not nice. That's called being selfish. With that being said, fuck this dictionary. We don't need dictionaries. We learn on our own. As you can see, I'm a little energetic. I did some research, I did some looking up, and I realized that there was something missing from 3 Rounds with Jay and Jay at the movies. And that was the fact that it was missing me being me. I tried to be something like I was pretending to talk, and I lost along the way what it was really meant. What this project, what all of this is really meant. And that is for me to inform you, to give you guys the best reviews possible, to give you guys the best content that you can enjoy. I'm still learning as we're going on our journey, as you're following me. As you can tell, the last trailer that I dropped, the Once Upon a Time in Deadpool, or whatever it was called, it was the Once Upon a Time at Dead King. Then I changed it to Dead King Endgames.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom. But a king's time as ruler rises and falls like the sun.
Something like that. It was a fun little trailer I put together quickly, hoping that it would get your attention, and hopefully you guys would have checked it out. Hopefully you did, and hopefully you enjoyed what you saw. I love putting that together, and more little projects like that will come. With that being said, this is what the point of all this is. It's to stand out, it's to be different, it's to have some fun. And in saying that, today I'm going to be reviewing a film that did just that, and that film is called Unsane. Not insane. I did not mispronounce that. I did not get that wrong. The film is called
You know, changing your phone number and your email becomes normal. Taking out a restraining order, normal. Relocating to another city, normal.
But you still see your stalker everywhere?
Rationally, I know this is my imagination, but I'm alone in a strange city, and I never feel safe.
Unsane. It's directed by Steven Soderbergh. Now, who is Steven Soderbergh? Well, that's quite simple. Steven Soderbergh, let me break down his list of films he's directed, because maybe some of you may not know what he's directed. Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13, Haywire. I forgot that one film. You know, I was on a roll and then I suddenly forgot that one film over there. The one with the disease that spreads and it ends up killing a lot of people. Matt Damon's in it and he's standing there and he's like, "You killed my wife! Where's my wife?" That's the film. Contagion. I remember that just from the Matt Damon segment. Contagion. I don't know if I said Haywire. He did Haywire. He's also done the Nick, starring Clive Owen on the Showtime network. He is a well-known director. Oh, I even forgot one. The Girlfriend Experience, or Experiment, starring Sasha Grey. Yes, Sasha Grey is the world-famous porn star who was known for taking it anally. Well, anyone who gets offended by the fact that I said Sasha Grey is the world's famous porn star by taking it anally, I don't care. That's what No Respect Media is all about. We're about having some fun, and we're about talking about films and fights. So, with that being said, Steven Soderbergh has got a ton more films that I did not announce. He did retire from filmmaking, which is kind of weird. He retired from filmmaking, then started making some television shows, and then he came back and he came out with this film right here, Unsane. So no one really knows what's going on. A lot of people retire, come back. You know how it is. Hollywood, just give me the money and then I'm coming in to make whatever the fuck I want. So, Unsane. First of all, this movie, incredible work on everyone's part. The cinematographers, director, not so much the writer. The writer did a good job, but I'm going to tell you why not so much the writer in this case. Everyone who was involved in the filming process of this movie, hands up. You guys did something truly incredible and magnificent. This entire film was shot on an iPhone 7. The whole 2 hours that this film plays out for, or an hour and a half, whatever time it may be, it is entirely shot on an iPhone 7. This is the first of its kind. The first Hollywood film of its kind to be released and to be entirely shot on an iPhone 7, to be entirely shot on a phone in general. This is something of an achievement. Now, many of you probably have not seen this film. It was not a big release. It was not something that many people were talking about. But it is a film that has a ton of positive reviews and a ton of positive reactions from those who have seen it. Simply due to the fact that it is an incredible experience that plays with the mind. The film is, to give you a brief summary of the plot, is about a girl who happens to get checked into a mental facility. She gets checked into this mental facility due to the fact that she goes to see a psychiatrist for the day to just vent her anger. She just wants to explain what's going on in her life, and I don't want to give it away because there's a couple of twists in this film. But she just goes to see the psychiatrist, sits down with him, she has a conversation, and then it ends up getting her locked up for a week. It ends up getting her locked up in this mental institution, not mental institution, but in this institution that they're going to see if you're okay and if you're alright to be put out into the real world to talk with people, based off the information that you've provided them while being a part of the psychiatry session, right? So this film, she ends up getting locked up. So throughout the whole time, she's questioning as to why she was locked up. She believes she's fine. She believes she's not insane. What the hell's going on? Why are you locking me up? I came in here just because I wanted to vent my anger, and all of a sudden now I'm trapped in here for a whole week with a bunch of strangers that I don't know, and this one that looks like she wanted to kill me with a shiv. So that's the kind of film we're dealing with. The kind of film that has you questioning what the hell is going on. And that is the point of this movie, and that is the reason, as to why I love this film so much, because you didn't know really what was going on. You didn't know whether to believe what the main character was telling you, Claire Foy, who does a fantastic job. Honestly, what a year she's had. Claire Foy played in Unsane, and then made her debut as Lisbeth in The Girl Who Plays with Fire, or The Girl Who Ran Away from the Dragon Tattoo. Whatever the sequel was, or the prequel, or whatever the hell it was, the reason I'm dismissing this film is simply due to the fact that The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo came out, and that was directed by David Fincher. It was a fantastic film. It had all the positive reviews, but simply because of the fact that it didn't make any money, the studio felt, you know what, we're not green-lighting a sequel, we're just going to jump away from all those films and reboot the entire franchise with some new book that came out after the death of the original author's trilogy series. So that's why I'm shitting on that film. But Claire Foy, what a year she's had. The Girl Who Played with Whatever in the Dragon Tattoo franchise, and Unsane, where she knocks it out of the park. Outside of Claire Foy, the rest of the actors and actresses are fairly unknown to the majority of the public, who is the general viewing public. You've never seen any of these people. So to some people that's a turn-off, because you love to know your Brad Pitts, your Christian Bales, and all of these people. But at the same time, I want you to keep in mind that all these Hollywood stars that you know, the Angelina Jolies, the Brad Pitts, and you know, it's funny, I'm naming you Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, and you know who they are. But when was the last time you actually saw them in a film, in any film that's come out of the last recent years? You're sure Brad Pitt appeared in Deadpool. I don't know how much he was actually in Deadpool. He got his image and that was it. Who even knows if he showed up on set for that? He just didn't use a picture. But outside of that, these guys have been non-existent. And why I bring this up is simply due to the fact that it's time to move on, folks. If you don't see an actor that you love and you know, look, they're not going to be around forever. This is the time, the transition period. This happened with our parents. There were actors that they knew and then they disappeared and new actors came in and took their place. As what happens, that's where the Brad Pitts came in and the Christian Bales came in. So this film does just that. It introduces you to a whole slew of new actors who are trying to make up their big break in Hollywood, and they quite honestly took the perfect genre, the perfect film, the perfect script to do just that. They were given the opportunity to play with something that is, first of all, in a way original, due to the fact that it's not 100% original, because this film has been done before, where they do like test studies and they make people pretend to be prisoners and people pretend to be guards. It's kind of like this, a simple storytelling as that nature, but it's done differently in the fact that you're not 100% sure if what Claire Foy is telling you is 100% true. Or maybe she really is insane. Or maybe we're losing our mind and we've lost, along the way, we lost what the story was really about. And that's how it plays with it so well until you get to the final act, until you get to the answers that you've been waiting for, and then it suddenly becomes a horror-ish film. That's what a twist and what a turn this film took. It started off as your basic drama of a girl who's kind of like down on life and you don't get why. She's being stalked by an individual, you get all that, and then suddenly, boom, you're locked up. What's going on now? So, to slow it down, because I've been rambling, I've been going quick, I've been going off the rails and talking right now. To slow this down, the film, what it does significantly well is its directing, is its style that it is shot in. It is simple. There's no quick cuts. It's something that I like to talk about a lot about. There's no shaky camera, any of that. The film, shot entirely on an iPhone 7, is simply with simple shots. The iPhone is here, it's catching the girl walking down the park, the iPhone is here, it's catching her face, the iPhone is up here, you know how it is. It's very simple the way it was filmed. Not saying that it was simple in the way it was filmed due to the fact of its originality and the way that it was filmed. You're always a part of the journey that Claire Foy's character is taking. Every single step of the way, there's no moment where you feel, I was into this film and then something happened and now I don't really know what's going on. There's none of that. Because of the way it's shot and because you're following her, she walks down the hallway, into the house, into the closet, she grabs a pill. You're always following the journey. So you always have the ability to know what's going on. There's never a moment where we go from her in the bathroom to her suddenly in a closet and you're like, oh, what happened in between this space and time? Let me fill in the blanks. No, this film is a 7-day film, basically, because it takes place over a course of 7 days. The film was shot in 20 days, or even less, I believe. It could be even less, but regardless, it was shot in about 20 days, which is something of an astonishment for a film of this length and a film with such twists and turns and an incredible story. A lot of these actors had to remember the majority of these lines and to perform at the best capabilities that they had to, especially when you're trying to pretend to be in a mental institution or in a psychiatric ward, and you got the people that are playing a little goofy because they're in there for their own personal reasons, and then you got the guys who are there just because they're doing their own little thing, right? So everyone had to play the part correctly, and the fact that this was shot in such a short period of time shows and should tell most of you that these are some legit actors who are looking to make a break, and they deserve that opportunity, especially with the performances that they put on. Unsane is a film that tests the boundaries and the limits to how much would you personally go through at this point. Say you went to see a psychiatrist for whatever's going on. You're disappointed with where you are in your life. You hate your job. There's someone that's bugging you, or you're just angry in general and you want to get stuff off your chest, and you go see a psychiatrist, and then suddenly, boom, you're locked up. And you don't know why, and you're locked up against your will because now they're telling you, oh, well, you signed this waiver, and this waiver says that we have the right to lock you up, right? Now, you signed the waiver. Now, what happens a lot of times is, say, with the Apple terms of release or terms and agreements and stuff, right? We never really read that. We just go based off what other people tell us. Oh, it's your basic information where, well, Apple has the right to share your information or use your information or do whatever they do with their information. And then in the case of when you go see a doctor and the doctor's like, oh, it's just your basic forms, just so we know if you're sick or you have any diseases or you're allergic to something, right? We never actually properly read any of these forms. This is why I say that this film worked for me, because I put myself in that situation as to what would happen if I went in to see a psychiatrist. If I had suddenly ended up in a psychiatric ward and I didn't understand why, and I was being held against my will, to what extent and to how far would I go to try and escape? What would I do if I was suddenly thrown in here and I didn't understand why? And it does that in a way where you get to see what this character tries to do. You get to see everything. You're like, why aren't you trying to escape? All of that is there. There's never a moment in time where you're like, oh, I would have done this. No, everything you probably would have done, this person does. This person, and that's what makes it work. And why this works so well is because the screenwriter did a fantastic job, a phenomenal job, a tremendous job. I need to turn down the Donald Trump on this one, right? But he did, or she did, they did a fantastic job at writing a screenplay that could resonate to a general audience. They did a fantastic job at writing a screenplay that you could feel a part of, that you could suddenly understand, that you could relate to if you were put into such a situation. So for that, I applaud the screenplay writer, because I understand how hard it is to plot out and to correctly make a journey, right? Because you're starting with a character, you have to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you got to have several interactions along the way to get the movie moving, to get the ball rolling, to get to you where you need to go, to build up an antagonist, to build up the protagonist, to give you a reason as to what's going on, to give you that twist at the end, and make sure that it ties in, and to make sure that it works, and it's not just something that you're like, wow, they really ran out of ideas, and that's the direction they went at the end of this film. They just shat on your face and said, ha, thanks for your money, and this is what you're getting. This film doesn't do that. This film offers you a journey. This film offers you all the answers you need. I don't know how much more praise I can give this film. For those of you who saw my Instagram feed, or story, should I say, I gave this film, I think 4 fireballs out of 5, or something like that. It was those whatever stupid fire emojis were, that's what I gave it. So basically what I'm saying, this film is without a doubt an 8 on 10. That is my God's honest review. It is an 8 on 10. If you want to look at it, it's a 4 on 5. It's not a 90% film. This is an 8 on 10, an easy 80% film. From the writing to the directing to the originality to the fact that I found out that this was entirely shot on an iPhone, that should simply be motivation and inspiration for any upcoming director, any upcoming cinematographer, anyone who's trying to up and come in the field of cinema. Keep this in mind. You do not need all the high-tech gadgets that are out there, of the Nikon cameras, of the Sony cameras, of the Red Rebels. I don't know if the Red Rebels is a camera. I feel the Canon Rebel, or the Red cameras, and all those $40,000 cameras, $15,000 cameras, $700 cameras. We spend enough money on buying iPhones and Samsung phones and every of these phones that are capable of filming in 4K resolution. Look, the time of making up excuses as to why we're not making films, as to why we're not doing something original, it's done. The time of making something and to proving a point and to getting your name out there is right now. And I'm saying that to everyone who's trying to make it in this business. Keep this in mind. Stop finding excuses. You know what the main thing, the main cause as to laziness or the not protagonist or the procrastination is? It's the mind. Once your mind tells you, oh, I don't feel like doing this, that is the problem. And the way you overcome that is by putting yourself in a situation where you battle your own mind, where you've got to make yourself so uncomfortable, because nothing is going to come easy to you. Like nothing came easy to the Claire Foy character in this film. She had to suffer until she could understand what was truly going on. She had to suffer until she could get to her final resolution. So that is what this is all about. It is to make things great, it is to make things original, and it is to simply put, be you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was my review for Unsane. That was this week's Jay at the Movies. With all of that being said, I just want to let you all know and to inform you that next week Jay at the Movies will not be airing on Friday. We will be taking that week off. Like I said, 3 Rounds with Jay will be going up on Tuesday at its regularly scheduled day. For Jay at the Movies, that will be coming up the week after that'll be coming up on Christmas week. Christmas week, we will be back. I will be back with a whole new episode. But for next week, there will not be a brand new episode. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to listen to this review. I hope you do check out this film. I highly recommend it. Claire Foy's performance is one of those that is worth watching. The twist in this film is one of those that are worth watching. The fact that you're questioning everything that this character is going through, whether or not she happens to be insane, or whether she happens to, the fact that you question whether this character happens to be insane and everything she is telling you, maybe it can be a lie, or maybe it isn't. That is what makes this film so fantastic. That is what makes this film worth checking out. With that said, please subscribe, like, send a shout out at the bottom at all the comments. let's have a discussion. I always say this, but let's keep the ball rolling. Tell me what your favorite films are. If there is a film that you've checked out recently, whether you liked it or disliked it, just let me know. Hell, I'm down to check it out. I'm down to see what's going on. You know, people will say, oh, I don't want to watch bad films. But you can't learn from simply watching good films. You can learn from watching bad films. And I've watched a ton of horrible films over my life. Hell, any of the Meet the Spartans or the Earth Day or whatever the hell those films were where they're spoof movies, I've seen enough of those crap films to understand that's something I never, ever, ever want to make in my entire life. That is just a piss man's poor excuse as to why they want to take your money and laugh in your face. That's all that is. So, let me know what you've seen recently. As always, all my links to my social media accounts are at the bottom. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't have Snapchat because, listen, I don't give a shit about Snapchat. What a waste of my time. Send a like, send some love. As I said, I will see you in about 2 weeks, Christmas week. Until then, have yourself a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Enjoy yourselves. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Until then, this was Jay at the Movies. Peace.